The San Andreas Fault on the west coast is about to crack, and here is what will happen when it does. This is on IFL Science. It's from The Conversation. Matthew Blassett, the director of the Southern California Earthquake Center, Thomas Jordan, made an announcement recently that would have sent a chill down the spine of every Californian. He said that the San Andreas Fault appears to be in a critical state and as such could generate a large earthquake imminently. Of course, the reiteration of the seismic hazard to Californians will be nothing surprising, but what is new is the warning that the southern portion of the fault looks like it's locked, loaded, and ready to go. This was Matthew Blackett's article dated July 14, 2019. Now, we've heard this many times before, especially by Dr. Michio Kaku of City College in New York City. He's really come out warning people about the San Andreas Fault being locked and loaded, ready to go. He's also been warning people about the Godzilla under Yellowstone. Going back to this, though, why is this eminent seismologist making these alarming statements? Well, the fact is that there has not been a major release of stresses in the southern portion of the San Andreas Fault since 1857. In simple terms, the San Andreas is one of many fault systems roughly marking the border between the Pacific and North American tectonic plates. Both plates are moving in an approximately northerly direction, but the Pacific plate is moving faster than its North American counterpart, which means that stresses between the plates are constantly building up. Also, Dr. Lucy Jones of Caltech, after the Ridgecrest earthquakes, many times pointed out that just because we had those earthquakes does not mean that the San Andreas pressure is gone. It's not gone at all. She says that big earthquake, the big one, is another issue altogether, and that nothing changes that prediction. And they came out with the prediction that the southern portion of the San Andreas would give a big earthquake, a major earthquake, a strong earthquake over an 8 magnitude within 30 years, and they came out with that prediction 15 years ago. So we're 15 years away. Now, in 1906, some of these stresses were catastrophically released in the San Francisco Bay Area in a 7.8 magnitude event, and again in Northern California during the 6.9 magnitude in 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Events of these magnitudes, however, have not occurred along the San Andreas Fault in the south of the state. The 1994 Northridge event was associated with a nearby but separate fault system, leading to the suggestion that one is imminent, and given the amount of stress that might actually have accumulated when it arrives, it will be the big one. Now, how big is the big one? How big could this potential earthquake be? And is it possible that the destruction demonstrated in the film San Andreas could actually come to fruition? In short, Californians will be reasonably pleased with the answers to these questions. In the film, the San Andreas Fault produced an earthquake with a magnitude of 9. While not unheard of globally, earthquakes of this size are generally confined to regions of the Earth where subduction, where one tectonic plate is being forced below another, is happening, for example, in Chile and Japan. The tectonic situation in California is different. Here, two plates are sliding past each other. As such, recent predictions limit the possible maximum earthquake magnitude along the San Andreas Fault system to an 8, although with a 7% probability estimate that such an event could occur in Southern California in the next 30 years. Over the same period, there is a 75% chance of a magnitude 7 event. While magnitudes of 7, 8, and 9 might sound negligibly different, the energies that such events would unleash vary significantly, with the magnitude 9 event releasing 32 times more energy than a magnitude 8 and 1,000 times more energy than a magnitude 7. Obviously, however, be it a 7 or an 8, damage is inevitable, but the whole sequence of events as depicted in the film is unlikely. For example, the San Andreas Fault is not beneath the ocean, and as such, any slippage along it could not displace water to the extent that a tsunami would be generated. The opening up of the massive chasm is also from the land of fantasy, and as the plates are sliding relative to each other, not away from each other. What is realistic, however, is that a great amount of destruction is likely where the building codes in California are stringent, recommending retrofitting of seismic protection measures to older buildings and preventing the construction of new buildings near the known fault lines. There's no way to make a building 100% safe. Prediction devastation. In an attempt to understand the effects of a large southern San Andreas earthquake, the U.S. Geological Survey modeled a 7.8 magnitude event with slippage of 2 to 7 meters to represent the stresses that have built up in the area since the last large event. And from this model, it was found that damage would be most severe to construction straddling the fault. Fortunately, construction of this sort are few and far between following the 1972 Alquist-Priolo Earthquake Fault Zoning Act. What would be affected by the slippage, however, are the 966 roads, 90 fiber optic cables, 39 gas pipes, and 141 power lines that cross the fault zone. The total cost of damage to buildings was estimated at $33 billion, with modern buildings faring well, but older buildings being particularly susceptible. Fires would rage, as they did following the Northridge earthquake, as gas mains and main water pipes become severed. In fact, the damage from resulting fires is estimated as more costly than that resulting from the initial shaking from the earthquake. The overall death toll estimated at 1,800, and just when things don't look like they can get any worse, the main event will have destabilized the tectonics of the region to such an extent that a series of potentially powerful aftershocks will begin. For example, in 2011, Christchurch in New Zealand was struck by a 6.2 magnitude event, and since then the city and surrounding region have been experiencing more than 10,000 aftershocks. Fortunately, the film San Andreas is pure fiction, featuring the levels of exaggeration we're all used to from filmmakers who are, ironically, also based in Southern California. Even so, in all probability, the San Andreas is likely to generate a significant earthquake in the not-too-distant future. When it arrives, the damage will be significant and Southern California will be massively affected, but Californians are no strangers to these events, and the infrastructure of the state in recent times has been designed with earthquake protection in mind. Now, forget tsunamis and deep chasms opening up, but do expect violent shaking, building collapse, fires, and widespread economic impacts as the region is out of action for potentially a very long period of time. This is by Matthew Blackett, Senior Lecturer in Physical Geography and Nature Hazards at Coventry University in England. Article is republished from The Conversation under Creative Commons license. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. and we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.